Thank you for taking the time, Alex.
Sure.
Yeah, my pleasure to carry out the interview with you today.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right in. That what is xLumi?
xLumi, literally X means exceeding, like express.
Yes.
Lumi, the full name is xLumia. Lumia is in physics, it's meaning the speed which is faster than light. Because we know in physical world, in physics, light speed is a max of the net speed, right? But like the quantum effect, there might be a speed faster than light. Therefore, people use xLumia to stand for the speed faster even than the light.
Wow.
That's literally what it means.
Interesting. So when is the release date? A lot of people are asking that when can we
release xLumi?
release
Well,
it.
okay, we can release it anytime because we already have all the codes, application use case, white paper, all finalized. We even have the xLumi. We applied for the patent on it.
Oh wow.
Not in the case that we want to charge people loyalty or fee or whatsoever. We will make it free for all, public to use, but we want to see, make a statement that the technology itself might be a milestone for the whole blockchain technology, especially for the high frequent micropayment. Because that is a bottleneck of the current blockchains.
Yeah. So I heard a lot about complaints and the congestion on the DeFi and on the chain there. So taking a step back, why do we need layer 2 anyway?
In the very beginning, right, Bitcoin or Ether, they were designed not to be first to solve some problem as a secure, or smart contract that can do more various projects, logic. But they haven't really been designed in a way so that they can handle a high TPX kind of transaction, right? So, of course, for a public chain, you're gonna have a lot of validation going on, okay? And normally it's gonna take a lot of it take a few minutes to validate, to confirm a trade, and then if there are a lot of transactions, of course the fee, the gas, will be expensive. Like in Bitcoin, it's easily cost like in terms of dollars, $10 or $20. For the Ether, right? We knew there was a DeFi momentum. Transaction fee on the on Uniswap could be reached as high as $70.
Wow.
So that is already being a problem for everyone. And so there are people trying to, instead of solve all the problems on the base layer and the so-called layer 1 on the native chain, they try to develop some layer 2. So instead of everything handled by the main chain, they do it off chain or side chain or state chain whatsoever, a so-called layer 2 application to solve the exactly slow speed, high cost problem. Yeah.
Okay, understand. So a lot of people are wondering, what is the difference between xLumi and all the other payment channels out there in the market?
Right. I think there are more than 10 teams working on that.
Yes.
And of course, it's the bottleneck of all the blockchain, right? And for example, like Lightning, right? They have been it's actually the Bitcoin core team. It's their response to the community that how to resolve the Bitcoin congestion or high cost problem. But they haven't been fully rolled out. They have already have some products released, something on test. But their business model is to have the so-called watcher nodes, the agent. Okay. And there are other approaches like, currently there are a lot of layer 2 on Ether, roll up or, or this optimistic roll up. All those actually involve the so-called, collateral, or in order for you to get trust by others, you need to put some asset on the on the main chain, so you lock it. Therefore, if there's any misbehavior, people will be your asset will be seized. So that's kind of if you involve a third party, that's a cost to build up the trust. So for us, we for the VCs try to resolve this problem by watcher node free, by collateral free, meaning we don't need either of them. We don't need a third party. We don't need the collateral to lock on the chain, and it's a simply P2P, peer-to-peer, high frequent payment. And how we can achieve that is instead of like Lightning is a sort of a copy Western Union from the real financial world onto the blockchain, but we are trying to resolve it totally by the blockchain's approach. In the way that we use some mathematical formulas. It's actually inequality equation. Like we use 3 of them to guarantee, when I pay you something, when I tell you the payment, it will always be secure. You can always, even it's off chain, you can always restore your asset from the chain anytime you like. It can extremely lower the cost, speed up the process. So our difference compared to others is that we are watch node free. We don't need any extra third party.
No agent.
No agent, no collateral. So that's very cost effective.
So truly peer-to-peer.
Exactly.
Driven by mathematical innovation.
You can see that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how about Cosmo Payment? And we got one question from the community asking about what's the difference between xLumi and Cosmo Payment.
Oh, as far as I understood, Cosmo Payment is a prepaid card.
Yes.
They actually have a physical card.
Yes.
So therefore, once you deposit your asset into that card, I'm not sure how they can withdraw it back. It might involve a lot of process. However, in terms of xLumi, we also have this so-called prepaid concept. But the money you put on the chain is not to anyone. It's not, you pay to the receiver first. No, you just put on the chain. The receiver can see that. But it's up to you whenever you want to terminate this payment channel and fully withdraw your prepaid asset. So in terms of that, it's like you show the receiver or the credit, and when you give the receiver the message, the receiver will know, the payee will know for sure he's fully entitled to that that payment from the message you sent. So that's the key issue for any blockchain payment, right? The trust, and it's really up to the payee when he want to withdraw from the chain his the asset. That will give him a choice to lower his cost.
Sure. So Cosmo Payment is actually a prepaid card, and xLumi is a smart contract product. So, actually, xLumi can be a supplier behind these payment.
Of course, we can not just them. We can be a supplier for any e-commerce that might involve, their customer might have a lot of payment, billings with them, like the supermarket or the telephone company or e-commerce. When one day they want to adapt blockchain, right? This decentralized finance, then xLumi is a perfect solution for them.
Perfect. So why now? So why now is the best timing to do xLumi or the layer 2 product? Can you tell us about the overall time frame of layer 2 so far? Who started it? When started it? And most importantly, where it is heading to now? What's next?
Well, actually, I think the scalability right? Layer 2 is supposed to resolve the scalability problem for Bitcoin, for blockchain. Blockchain world used to be Bitcoin dominant, right? So scalability is always a concern. So there are a lot of community proposal, like the core team have their own Lightning network to resolve it. So it has been in place for many years. Because people will, as I told you, right, in the very beginning, Nakamoto or Vitalik, they designed more, I think is first it's ready to use instead of the efficiency. So we need to make sure it's secure before we make it a very efficient for anyone, right? So that's why, when we start VSYS, we want to build a blockchain. One of our tagline is we want to be a blockchain that will be industrial level usage. So if you want to help Visa or MasterCard to do the payment, by current, all this capacity of the Bitcoin or Ether, there wouldn't be a chance. Right, but if there's in the future, if there's a decentralized Visa card or MasterCard, right, I think xLumi can extremely help them in many ways. Yeah, so lower the cost, make it very secure, no fraud, and make it the speed is just as fast as centralized payment gateway. Yeah. So from last year, we knew for Ether, I think Polkadot already has an impact on the market. People think, wow, it's very congested. I think delayed hours by if not days. And then last year, the DeFi has been boomed. It's also very congested, but then the gas fee. So the people actually go, when they try to get ahead of others in the queue, DeFi queue, right? They pay more to get a priority. So the fee, transaction fee has been rocket. So last year, in the end, a lot of DeFi players, they have to be high stake players. Meaning if you don't have like 20,000 grand US dollar worth of crypto asset, it might not be a good idea for you to go for DeFi, because your transaction will eat up your profit if you are successfully make a profit. Yeah. So there are many guys in Ether world. They are already proposed their two solution. Yeah, like the roll up. Like they have this new idea, or like their sidechain idea plasma. That's Vitalik or try to promote. So we definitely notice that, and we. On the other hand, within our own native token project, Tachyon, which is so-called IPX token, right? So Tachyon is a decentralized VPN, right? So Tachyon actually, as a application, they also facing the same problem. If their users keep sending them payment, gonna be very extremely expensive for the users or for their business, right? So they ask us to help them to resolve this, and we realize that if we follow the traditional way, it's not good enough. So we, our team, VSYS team has 4 mathematics PhDs. So we really like this kind of puzzle, but we try to solve it not in the conventional way. We try to solve it in a mathematical way to find out what could be done simple. Simple doesn't mean easy. If you want to make something simple, it's very hard. Because it's always easy. You add a layer, add a lot of parts, right, put together. But if you want to make it very neat, very simple, then it will be very demanding. So we're so blessed that our chief scientist Lin Chen, he came up with this idea. So to discuss with the Tachyon team, and finally we think that is going to be a perfect solution to that Tachyon's problem. And then we realize we can generalize it to many other use cases.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned a couple of times on the DeFi product. So can you tell us the exactly relationship between xLumi and DeFi players?
Well, I knew, in the beginning we're not, we, as I told you, it's like Tachyon, the project they want to implement this, right?
Yep.
So we do know that DeFi gonna be one of the blockchain's major application, major area, and we have our DeFi gonna release in this year. Probably very soon,
Okay.
but I can't release the detail yet until it's finalized.
Sure.
So DeFi last year has been, it's very successful, okay? Because there's a lot of people talking about it, and even I think some, the U.S. Federal Reserve, some official, I think the chairman of the OCC, he even mentioned that DeFi might be the future of the banking system, right? So DeFi has be put on a very high regard.
Sure.
And but then we found out that even it was so popular, right? But other than Uniswap, others like or SushiSwap, other DeFi projects, their daily transaction is very low. It's like less than 1,000 transactions on a normal basis. Then we go further to find out that then there are reports as well. The transaction fee is high, meaning the DeFi world. Of course, there are people making money, but only the high stake players they can afford.
Sure.
They can afford the transaction fee. That is kind of against, blockchain's ideal blockchain's design, right? They want to make the banking, make the financing to everyone. If in the future DeFi want to be more open to general users, the cost has to be lowered down. Therefore, one way xLumi can help with is that we can, or the centralized exchange or decentralized exchange or wallet, they can try to implement xLumi, the technology, and then with their own users, the transaction fee will be vastly, reduced, and in a very secure way.
Yeah. So I guess with lower costs, so like return investment ROI would be
of
would
course,
be higher.
Yes,
in general.
Right. The small players, they can their profit will be eaten up, will be eroded by the transaction fee, right? So that's why they are shy away from the game. But if you can lower the transaction fee, then your DeFi community gonna be you're gonna have minimally more users. Yeah.
Sure. So a lot of our friends in the communities are very interested in the concept of the development of Tachyon.
Yeah.
So what is the relationship between xLumi and decentralized VPN and Tachyon?
Okay, so first of all, Tachyon, right? Tachyon is a native token project on top of VSYS. Right? It has been very successful. Literally, Tachyon is also a very scientific word from physics, right? So we understand that the photon, travel at the speed of light. Okay, that is which is the fastest speed human known. But then you have quantum physics, right? As I mentioned, there's a speed, there's some effect faster than speed of light. So the physicists, they name those items as a Tachyon. Meaning your speed is faster than photon. Okay, so that's what Tachyon literally meaning.
Yeah.
So Tachyon project is actually a VPN project, a decentralized VPN. in the sense that it will help people to speed up their access to the internet. And the project has been very successful. We launched it beginning of last year, and the product was in place April of 2020, and then it already has like 2 million users by end of the last year, and the user base has been ever growing.
Wow.
So Tachyon, they try to make a new VPN service in the sense that nearly everyone can build a VPN server. Okay, they can be a server. They can be the server end, and everybody else will use it, right? All the users. But for the users' perspective, meaning that they don't have to pay the service on a monthly subscription. The subscription billing is not very flexible. But the Tachyon team, they wanted to be very flexible. So meaning it's a so-called payment schema, pay as go. You only pay how much you use.
Oh wow!
Like a water bill, electricity bill.
Wow. Yes.
So you really don't have to worry about your full subscription fee. There's no waste. But then, if you want to use token to pay for that, then there will be many transactions involved if you want to do the payment on chain, right? So that's exactly is what the DeFi guys or other blockchain application gonna face, right? The scalability problem is a general problem for everyone, as I mentioned. So therefore, they have a discussion with us, and then we have a lot of discussion over this, and finally we come up with the xLumi solution to perfectly resolve this for them.
So number one, the user are paying based on consumption, but not by a monthly fixed plan. Second, they can pay through IPX token.
Yes.
Driven or engineered by xLumi.
Exactly. So IPX token is a native token on top of VSYS, right? And VSYS Smart, VSYS xLumi Smart gonna support this kind of micro high frequency payment. So it's perfect for them to use it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the gas fee is actually
very low.
Basically very low.
Each transaction might only cost you less than 1 cent. 1 cent of USD.
Sure,
Yeah.
definitely. So it would be the cost would be lower for both parties.
Of course. Yeah, especially for the users.
Yep.
Once you lower the cost for the users, meaning you have more business.
Yes.
Of course, we're gonna receive the, make profit for the vendors.
Yeah, I guess Tachyon would be one of the first. Place to leverage and to start using the xLumi. I'll expect a lot more later later on.
Yes.
So how about the roadmap for xLumi? So what can we expect later on after the first release?
Right. So currently our xLumi solve the problem for P2P, meaning peer-to-peers, one-on-one, right? The vendor with their one customer. But in the future, as we mentioned in the white paper, by the way, the white paper will be released very soon.
Okay.
One of the writer, Zui, has finalized the terms. We're gonna release probably in January in this month.
Okay. Yeah.
In the white paper, we also mentioned about what's the future for xLumi, right? It might be one-to-many, many-to-one.
Oh wow.
So this kind of multiple users case. Multiple vendors case. So that's the next step for xLumi. But on the other hand, we strongly encourage the community developers to work with us, or we can sponsor them. We can do some cross-chain, right? We can, whatever the Ether or Bitcoin they cannot resolve, we can replicate them. Wrapper them onto VSYS and use our existing payment channel. Or if they are interested, we can sponsor them to actually, of course the idea is very generic. Okay, it's a mathematical way. It doesn't matter where to apply, right? And we can work with them, sponsor them to work out the xLumi schema on other blockchains as well. So we're more than happy to, really contribute to the whole blockchain community to benefit the whole decentralized economy.
Okay.
Because we truly believe xLumi, the technology gonna help everyone. It's gonna resolve their problem for sure. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Let's move to the second part with the community question. So we have received some questions from the community. The first one would be: is it possible to issue stablecoins on VSYS?
Okay, of course it's possible.
Okay.
And we actually have plans on it as well. And there are multiple ways to do it. Either working with current stable currency token issuers, or we can try to replicate some of this stablecoin by ourselves or by community developers. To put enough collateral.
Yep.
Just in like MakerDAO, we can make replicate on VSYS as well.
Okay.
We do have plans in place. We can also, on top of that, to replicate stablecoin for the VSYS community. We definitely lead it, especially when we release our DeFi contracts. Yes.
Sure, definitely. And so another member from the community asked it, so other coins project or token projects set a roadmap on a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
Is there any reason for annual based roadmap?
Last year we have 2 releases, right? We try to make it faster. We try to make it a full release a year. But we always know they develop software development, right? Gonna involve a lot of testing.
Sure, definitely.
Security is our the top concern, right? We really want to make it as safe as possible for everyone. This year we will have. What I can tell you right now is we're gonna have our cloud product in place very soon.
Okay.
The early days on our white paper, we mentioned ourselves as a cloud blockchain service, right? So we will have our first cloud product release, half of it, probably in Q1, but within the first half of the year. And then we'll have a DeFi released. That's for the main team. But we are working with many other developers, community developers. We want to have more native token project, like IPX. Or Tachyon, right, to be able to build on top of us. Yeah, so 2 legs. One is core products, the other is ecosystem products. Okay. Yeah.
So another question would be: is it cross-chain possible for xLumi with BTC, ETH, or even Polkadot?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned for the roadmap, right? It is possible, right? So xLumi is designed very generic in the way that any blockchain with a smart contract, they can work with us, they can implement our idea.
Sure.
The idea itself is very simple, and since it's mathematically, it needs very little maintenance, unlike other, watcher loads or collateral, this kind of mechanism. So there's 2 ways. One is we replicate everything on top of VSYS, right? Then we use VSYS existing infrastructure. That's one way. Another approach is, anyone interested in Layer 2 or scalability, this team, they can, we can actually sponsor them. We can work together to replicate xLumi implementation on other blockchains as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
Another question would be: how many active developers do we have on VSYS right now?
Core team will have like 5 dedicated programmers, including Sunny King himself. But then our cloud product, right, the big cloud, will have about 10 developers.
Sure.
And then we have a few other, surrounding accessory developers. Sum up, we have about 20 full-time developers. Sure. Very solid young kids. They are very innovative, working on our project.
Right. Understand. Yeah. So one more question from the community is that how does xLumi affect the VSYS Tokenomics? In what way, and what should we expect from this
so
new product?
of course, number one, xLumi to show the world that our team under Sunny King has innovation.
Sure.
Just like we used to, really give the world like proof of stake, right? We can give the world a scalability solution as well.
Sure.
This kind of contribution is non-trivial. It's gonna push the whole blockchain technology one step further, right? It resolves, all the blockchain facing, the slow speed, high cost, right? So once this can be this idea, this technology can be fully adapted, then blockchain will be closer to the industrial level usage, right? So that definitely will be a big plus for our VSYS, right? On the other hand, is that if we keep delivering such kind of support for developers, our community or the whole community, right? We're gonna attract more projects to be built on top of VSYS, right? Then VSYS Tokenomics will, if we have more use case, like Tachyon give us 2 million users, right? I don't think of only a few apps, blockchain apps, including centralized one. And I didn't know any decentralized one with such kind of massive user number. New project with their millions of users will help on our tokenomics, make it more healthier.
Sure.
Yeah.
So let's jump to the next part of being a more technical there, because we do have a large part of the community. They're very excited about the technical aspect of xLumi there. Let's talk a little bit about the features of xLumi. Is this data off-chain or on-chain?
Well, the data is off-chain. They're only involved when it involve on-chain 2 parts. One is you deposit your money there. Another is withdraw. Okay. For the payment, all the data are off-chain. And normally off-chain data will be very, you need a high secure, something like that, right? But since the design for this, right, in the very beginning, we try not to resolve all the problem. We only resolve the problem. Alice pays to Bobby, okay? Bob, right? Alice pays to Bob, so P2P. So then in our design, in our implementation, the contract only have 2 outputs. Either the money back to Alice, or the money goes to Bob.
Yes.
It's written in the contract. So no hackers will can send the money to other places. And there's no lockup. We don't. One of the very important feature about xLumi is that we don't rely on multi-signature. Okay. For any watcher nodes or any collateral, this kind of implementation, they actually rely on the multi-signature. So if they really rely on multi-signature, meaning partially their data will be online. Meaning if one party default, then the asset is under the risk to be fully lock on the chain forever. Yeah, so that's not ideal. That's not good, right?
Yeah, and the second question on the features would be, is this zero knowledge proofs or fraud proofs?
First one is fraud proof for sure, right? As I mentioned, there's no other alternative payment outputs, okay? And we don't really need zero knowledge. The message itself, when the payer give the message to the payee, give the key to the payee, it can open to all. Although they can make it exclusive, right? But it's open to all. Because anyone use that key to try to apply to the main chain, pay the transaction fee, apply it, and they only give the money to the payee, to the receiver. So there's less concern of their knowledge or the fraud, this kind of. But for other load watchers, they probably will have to deal with it.
As you mentioned, it is a fraud-proof feature. So am I correct to say that xLumi is aimed at being a generalized L2 contract rather than being a purpose-built, for example, loop ring L2 for DEX?
Yeah, you can see that. We are not really just particularly to try to use, the introduce another agent or introduce a punishment,
Sure.
so-called, the cost of trust into the system. Sure. Okay, we are more generalized P2P. Right now it's payment, right? But in the future, it can be generalized to P2P calculation.
Sure.
So meaning there might be more other than just a simple payment. It might be more activities, more interactions. So we are very generic in the way that as long as the two party build up the state channel,
Sure.
okay, then there are a lot they can do between them at a lower cost, high speed, and secure. Yeah, so we are very generalized. It's not even a layer 2, I'll say. It's we resolve what layer 2 try to resolve, but we're more like a way for the peer-to-peer, build up some state channel so that they can interact with each other at low cost and very trustful, secure this way. Yeah.
Sure. So it seems like it is solving one of the biggest problems, which is withdrawal delays and massive exit that we see from other solutions.
Yeah, there's no withdrawal delay, right? So because I think the withdrawal delay is because the massive exit is if you have a central, you have an agent or you have a centralized institution, right? Yeah. Then your users want to all rush to you, then they probably have this kind of headache. But for us, we design the way that xLumi right now is just one-on-one, okay? So somebody just resolve the peer-to-peer problem, then there's no such kind of concern whatsoever. Yeah.
Sure. So layer 2 is more about balancing trade-off to meet the real user needs in the face of terrible congestion in the recent month. So what is the logic behind of trade-off from xLumi? What is the decision-making process between balancing all these features?
We know that the secure, effective, and the speed, right? They are so-called the impossible triangles by Vitalik, right? Yeah. So we always think secure is number one. Okay. Yeah, secure is really very important, right? Okay. It cannot be sacrificed due to the efficiency. So when we design this, we make it very secure, meaning we just put two addresses into the contract, right? So the pairs, when he built the contract, his own address, he issued this, launched this, and then the receiver's address. Okay, so that's only two outputs for the asset in the contract. Sure. Therefore, it's extremely hard for the other third-party hackers try to steal the money away. And then effective, right? So we think to lower the on-chain interaction as much as possible is very important, right? So we will just lead them, the two of them, just to communicate off-chain. But then how you can make sure because on-chain data will be validated by all the nodes, right? How you can be so sure about the asset is actually in place, and you as a receiver can be guaranteed with entitled to the payment. So over there, we think maybe mathematics will help. If we have some mathematic inequality to perfectly boundary that kind of to restrict this kind of payment rules, then it's very effective for people to communicate off-chain. So if for anyone who will be interested in from the technical point of view, I do encourage you to download our white paper. But it's not there yet. It will be soon out there.
Sure.
You know, today is 15th, I think, or within next week, it will be on our website.
Okay.
Then you can, on the white paper, there's a very elegant diagram, right?
Okay.
It shows 3 stairs, okay? And that very intuitively will show you what xLumi payment channel means, what this state channel means.
Right.
So I think it's like many other applications. Once you really get to the very point, the gist of the problem, and you try to start from there. You use the math to crack the problem. Then, because we know that if it's true in mathematical way, it's gonna be save you a lot of trouble to resolve any ambiguity by applications.
Right.
Yeah, by the physical agents or whatsoever third party. So that's also a concern when we think about the trade-off. Or speed-wise, it's because VSYS has very fast. We have this supernode proof of stake, right? Our block generating is like very fast, nearly just instant. The experience is very good, right? Our block will be out like in seconds. So when you want to pay someone or build up this transaction, this smart contract will be there instantly.
Sure.
So 3 of them, that's a concern behind how we balance, the trade-off among the 3 of them.
Sure.
So I think, I do think, other applications, if they have the same problem, they can contact us.
Sure.
I will try to help them to implement the xLumi technology within their applications. Yeah.
Sure. So you mentioned at one point you're open to sponsor some of the interested party, interested developer.
Yeah.
And can you tell us more exactly what you're looking for?
Okay, there are many ways to grow from the current contract, right? First of all, it's one-on-one, right? So if anyone want to do one-to-many or many-to-one,
okay.
They can come to us. Okay. Second of all, if our team, they try to resolve the same problem on the Ether or Bitcoin, right? And we're very happy to work with them to, contribute our idea, our source code.
Sure.
That so they can learn from it.
Okay.
And we can work with them to make the technology ready for any blockchain. For those who are interested to move the assets onto VSYS, right, to build the cross-chain tunnels, then to directly implement, directly take advantage of our infrastructure, it's more than welcome. We're gonna encourage this kind of activities as well. Our code has been done middle of last year. Why we haven't fully tell the market yet is because we tested, all right. We tried to make it applied to one of our real project, application with like 2 million users. We really want to see what's the use case, right? So now it's nearly all the testing is done, and we are confident to show the market our technology, and so welcome to the community to contact us.
Okay.
We can build together.
So how, if they're interested party, is there are there? So how should they contact you?
Okay.
They message
of course,
you
the best thing is go to our website,
Sure.
VSYS Systems, right?
Sure.
Or try to contact our people in the Telegram, or send them an email.
Sure.
Alex at VSYS Systems. VSYS Systems.
Yeah. So before we close up, and if you were to describe VSYS in 3 words, what would they be? Yeah, VSYS.
In 3 words, I think it's secure,
Secure.
speed,
Speed.
and cost effective.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't want to say cheap, but it's really cheap now.
Okay.
It's when you want to issue a token on VSYS, it only costs you like $2, $2.
Okay.
You can be a token owner.
Okay.
Yeah, and you send someone. If you want to, apply this kind of technology, it only costs you like 3 cents.
Okay.
That's very, very cheap for anyone to try to have a taste about blockchain technology.
Sure. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Perfect.
Secure
Yep.
Fast.
Secure, fast,
and cheap. Yes.
low cost.
Yeah, low cost, right.
All right. Thank you.
That's
Thank you
right.
so much, Alex.
Thank you, Jack. Pleasure talking with you.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.